Oilers and the Panthers are going to take a look at props. Let's get right into it. Last time I went to the game log to take a look at see what's going on and point us in the right direction. And game one helped us out a lot. The big thing is just these shots on goal are not happening for Edmonton. Bobrovsky was an easy under a 25 and a half saves. And on the flip side, the Oilers, they're not getting their shots on goal props over. These guys are underplays for sure. I mean, McDavid only had 3. Draisaitl had 2. I mean, look at these zeros here. Vogel, 0. Hyman, 1. Kane, 0. Nugent Hopkins, none. So when we're looking at props, I don't see a whole lot changing for Edmonton. Florida's just doing a great job of muddying up this Edmonton team. Not allowing a lot of scoring opportunities, and you're seeing it. So let's talk about some props. I'll also go over some parlay pieces at the end, and had a couple people recently have asked about the road to millions. So I will talk a little bit of Road to Billions at the end, and if you guys want, I can start sprinkling in that content. I'll talk about why we really haven't been talking about it a whole lot. So let's take a look at. We'll start with shots on goal here. My boy Tarasenko, just the cash cow recently, and they're still leaving it at minus 140. Tarasenko has been going over 1.5 shots on goal. Listen, that maybe if you're just looking for one play tonight, that's all you need. Tarasenko over. Some other ones to look at. Let's take a look at some unders. Evander Kane is not even getting 1 shot on goal in the last 3 games. And you can get plus money on Evander Kane to under 1.5 shots on goal. So that was an interesting one. Verhaeghe, he's not getting that many shots on goal. And honestly, if we go back here, it wasn't like Florida shot 38 shots on goal. They only shot 28 shots. So some unders on these big numbers on someone like Verhaeghe who hasn't gotten over, not the worst play in the world. So like I said, this is kind of turning into an under type of series. Bouchard is at 2.5. This guy's only gone over 1 time in the last 5 games. So this has not been a good series for over bettors, and I know there's a lot of over bettors out there. So shots on goal, it's just not happening. Points, it hit again. Doing the same game parlay of Evander Kane to not have a point and the game to go under 5.5. So that's 2 games in a row. Honestly, if you've played it, you're done. You made your money on this play. You're undefeated in this series. You're 2-0. I would say take the profits and run. That's what I've done. So, but yeah, Evander Kane to not have a point and the Oilers, Panthers under. That's a quick 2-0. Beautiful prop. We talked about Connor McDavid under 1.5. Yeah, all day. I'll keep playing it at minus 105. Hey, listen, again, if we talked about this, if you've played it 2 games in a row and you've hit it, you're probably done. Take your 2-0 in this series and right off into the sunset. But when the Oilers are only scoring 1 goal, it's very hard. The math doesn't make sense. It's very hard for Connor McDavid to get 2 points when the Oilers are only getting 1 goal. So I know everyone's waiting for the McDavid and the Oilers explosion. Maybe it happens, but if it doesn't, these unders are just like, man, are they just sitting there? Who else has a Draisaitl? But Draisaitl's pretty juiced there. Matthew Tkachuk. I mean, 4 games in a row. The thing with Tkachuk though is 4 games in a row. Matthew Tkachuk does not go 4 games in a row without a point. So my guess is he's due to get a point here. Just by basic regression math. So, and they're telling you minus 150. So even though he's gone 4 games in a row, minus 150, they've got it priced. So I'd say it's kind of a stay away. But Evan Rodriguez, this is an interesting one. He has a point in 3 games in a row, points in both of these, and they're still pricing him to the under minus 195. So that's kind of an interesting one as well. But points, not a lot of points in this series. I have to thank my good friend Sam Reinhart here for making me look like a complete idiot when I went on other shows. And in game 1, I was like, "Hey, Sam Reinhart barely gets any assists, and they're giving you minus 160. You should play it." And he goes out, gets a freaking assist, and then I look like an idiot. And does he get an assist in the next game? Of course not. And the books lower it to minus 195, making it unplayable. So thanks a lot, Sam. Made me look like a complete idiot. Not much to do with the assist, but a couple of block shots props that nobody looks at. Forsling under 1.5. Yeah, he's one blocked shot in the last 5 games. So you can look at that. Minus 145 is a very fine price. And on the flip side, Evan Bouchard is going over quite a bit. Minus 178, pretty juicy. If you wanted to lay the wood, you could. I mean, this is kind of a big thing for him that he's been going over this quite a bit. So it's kind of one of those you have to play in every game, but books maybe have it priced out. But yeah, that Gustav Forsling under, absolutely. So I noticed that speaking of Gustav Forsling, I have to talk about they still don't know what to do with his shots on goal. They put it to 2.5, then he goes under 2 games in a row. So now they've lowered it to 1.5. I'm not going to bet it, but my guess is he goes over. This is just the nature of prop betting. Like whenever the books make this move, you go the opposite direction. So we said when Forsling was at 2.5 shots on goal, you take the under. Then they move to 1.5 and you take the over. So my guess is the Forsling will go over just because that's just how life works. But then I'm really surprised here. Bobrovsky, 25.5. 25.5 saves. So he only had 18 in the last game. So yeah. I know he went way over, and Edmonton had a bunch of shots and Florida didn't, but I think Florida's defense got dialed in game 2, and I think they figured something out. And I think he goes way under. So I would go right back to playing Bobrovsky under 25.5 saves. So it is interesting that in game 1, we had one team with a bunch of shots on goal, and then it kind of completely flipped. So, but I liked what I saw from Florida's defense, just the way they really. I mean, only one goal, and comes from Ekholm and Bouchard. They were doing a great job on McDavid. So I like the Bobrovsky under. Skinner here, he's gone under barely in the last game. I mean, if he makes one more save, nothing you can do with that. We move on. So those are some of the props that I like. But honestly, I just keep it simple, guys. Tarasenko, he gets there. 1.5. He's been my own personal little gold mine. I'm gonna have to send him a fruit basket after this. So if you guys could do me a favor, hit the like button, leave me a comment. You guys know the drill. Helps me out, helps the algorithm out. Let me know how you're doing in NBA. We had my prediction video on the props was terrible for the last game. I was very good the previous games, but I was terrible on that one. So hopefully tonight is a little bit better. I will remind you guys, it's PFL night. This is guys. PFL is a cash cow. PFL they don't do events all the time, but when they do, and you get these spots, this is where you have to pounce, and this is where I pounce. So me and Jim did the breakdown video, and we are going to do a live show on the YouTube channel, Takedown Live. We will be live for the bets tonight. So we got a 4% PFL pack that is up. So not only are you going to get our PFL plays, you're going to get our UFC plays as well. So a couple great spots in UFC. I think the card as a whole kind of stinks, but there's just a couple betting opportunities that I think are fantastic, and we want to take advantage of that, and we will. So 4% PFL pack comes with all of our UFC plays. That is fantastic value there. Andy Lang over at wagertalk.com. 12-5 in our last 17 MMA plays, and the last event we went 3-1. So great night there. So good live betting opportunities for PFL. So I encourage you to join us if you're not doing anything. I believe it starts 5 o'clock Eastern time. So and we'll be on for the entire show. All right. Talk about a couple of parlay pieces here. Let's take a look at there's some good ones here. I mean, Germany is playing Scotland tomorrow. I like surely Germany wins. And then I was looking at you could throw Boston minus 2.5 games. It's minus 550. Obviously, maybe they drop the next game, and then they close it out on their home court. But wouldn't surprise me if they ended up getting the sweep. Dallas just doesn't seem to have it. Doesn't seem to have what it takes to get over the hump against Boston. So uh, Germany, but Boston Celtics -2.5. Those are examples of parlays. I do have to mention this. In the chat yesterday in the NBA show, people were throwing out parlays with like 3 baseball money line parlays. And I really need to do a seminar on how to bet parlays. I have talked about this a lot. At least the way that we attack parlays, and I think we do a good job. I mean, we're up pretty big. Lifetime since being at Wager Talk, we're up big this year on parlays. I'm not looking to build a parlay to get a 9-1, 15-1 hit. You have to put some. You either have to play a ton of them, a ton of parlay pieces, or you have to throw some crazy underdogs. We really try and stick with 2 parlay pieces at most. Sometimes we will go to 3. We had a tennis one where we actually used 4. That is very, very rare, but it hit because the pieces were very, very obvious. So when I look to build a parlay, I'm not looking to try and get a huge hit. I'm trying to get close to even money. My rule is if it gets below -200, then it has my attention. So that one that we just talked about, this is borderline playable. It's -189. It's still pretty juicy. I probably would not play this because it's close to -200. I don't know that the payoff is totally that worth it. So for this, it's probably a stay away. I'm cautious, very cautious. I think we only have like 4 plays for this week on Wager Talk. So, but that's kind of how we look to build a parlay. So there were a couple of other ones, and if you want to look at PFL as an example, like let's see, Velasquez, no way. I'm laying her. Tim Johnson, no. What's a good one here? Oh, okay, Popov. Popov at -270. I really like Popov to win. I think he's much better than Davion Franklin. I think he's only lost 1 fight. So we can start with a -278. So if I want to build this -2, like -278. Now I'm just trying to get close to even. So I'm looking for another play, one more play that might be like -300 or something. So let's go back to the Euro. If you really like Germany to beat Scotland, bam, -130. I don't want to add another parlay piece to this. I don't need to. I just have two please. It eliminates the randomness of that third or fourth parlay piece. So that's a way to build 2 parlay pieces that get you close to even money. That's how I build parlays. I know it's cool when FanDuel and DraftKings put up those. Oh, this better hit a 16-leg parlay. Yeah, for every one of those that hits, there's like 4 million that do not hit. And it's just death by a million paper cuts to your bankroll. So that's how we attack parlays. So like I said, PFL is kind of in its own little world. We probably will have several of these uh, PFL cards to like these ones to not go the distance, like Goldsoff and Santos. I doubt that's going the distance. Ditcheva and Hackett, that's probably not going the distance. I actually think Carmouche finishes Watanabe. So there's other parlay, and that one's plus money, so you can just play that on its own. But you're just looking for 2 plays, or at least that's what I'm looking for. So some sports that I just do not absolutely put parlays. Baseball's number 1. I can't imagine trying to pick 3 money lines in baseball. Like Joe Ranieri and I were joking, like on a Wednesday, you're going to try and pick 3 money line winners? No way. WNBA, I have not put in any. The other night, the Mystics, who haven't won a game all year, I'm sure betting against them was in a bunch of parlays, and it got nuked because they won by like 20 points or something weird like that. So I have not put any of these in. CFL last year was one of our bread and butters for parlay pieces. Really good money line value when you got the right team. I did not mess with any money lines parlays last week, and I'm glad I didn't, because a couple of the favorites lost. So the first couple weeks we're really, really looking to learn some things. So if I were to pick my favorite one, I'm not going to play. It's not going to be official play. It's the Blue Bombers over the Red Blacks. I think the Red Blacks are pretty bad, but we haven't seen them play yet. That's why I'm not. That's why I'm not going to bet it. But yeah, the Alouettes over the Elks. I mean, the Alouettes looked great last week, but man, this week could be a classic letdown spot for them. BC Lions minus 395 is kind of insane. That's an insane price. I think they should win, but I'm not willing to lay that. So we'll probably wait another week, get to see how the quarterbacks are. I was very impressed with the Argonauts quarterback. I think they're going to be just fine. So hopefully we'll get to some CFL parlay pieces. But I guess the point that I'm making with these parlays is I don't use too many sports. Like tennis is a good one to use. Soccer if it's appropriate. MMA is good, but probably not going to see too many more like cross sport parlays. You guys know I use golf quite a bit, but you don't need to parlay in every single sport. Actually, I don't think you should be parlaying in every single sport. I think baseball, I think WNBA, NBA is another one I would never parlay. I would never use money lines and for a single game in the NBA. So those are just some ways that I look at using parlays. So they can be dangerous, but if you use them right, they can be awesome. So that's my take on parlays, and those are a couple parlay pieces. And just as a reminder, like you don't need to fire off these parlays every single night. You shouldn't be firing off parlays every single night in these sports. Like a couple a week is easily good enough to build the bankroll. So, all right, guys. A couple people have asked about the Road to Millions. If you're new and you have not, if you haven't watched the original Road to Millions video, it's up there. It's still on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. You can just type in Road to Millions, and it's the original one where I go over the plan. But if you haven't watched it, basically, I aim to make 3% my bankroll per week. Build the money up, never take the money out, and then every week we do a bankroll reset day every single week where we take how much we hopefully won, or if we lost, we reset the bankroll, and then we try and make 3% on that bankroll, and we build it up. I've been doing this a couple years, and it's been good. Actually, I don't know if I've been doing it a couple years. I think the original video was about this time last year, so call it a year. But it's a lot of low volume. Every time I've tried to go high volume, I get crushed. And some of the big things about the Road to Millions, and one of the biggest things is it's so important to try and avoid the losing streaks. And I know that's obvious, but one of the things with the Road to Millions that people never talk about is if you start with like 10,000, let's say, and which is a pretty good size bankroll. So I recommend 4,000. But if you only got 1,000, you can start with that. If you have 10,000 and you make 3%, you make 3%, you make 3%, but then you go high volume and you overexpose yourself and you have a bad week and you lose like 20 units, your bankroll is now less than that 10,000. And so it kind of not irks me, but it doesn't make sense when like we say in the industry, like, well, I'm up so many units this year. And I know that's the only way you can talk about it, but it's like, okay, if I'm up 50 units, like did I have a week where I lost like 40 units for my clients? Because if so, their bankroll's gone. So I'm really not up 50 units. Not all units are the same. So the Road to Millions is low volume. You got to exercise a lot of patience. You got to know when you're on a winning streak to take advantage of it. You got to know when you're on a losing streak to walk away. Losses are going to happen. It's just part of the business. I had literally a miserable one day in golf where I tried to predict that scores were going to be low. They weren't, and I lost a chunk. Ever since then, it's been fine. So in June, what is today? June 13th. Yeah, June 13th. We're up 6 units in June. Great. I'll take it. When you're following plays, this is what I recommend. This is for us. Like we don't have that many plays, so we're never really going to have a week where we have like 70 units, out there. But when I put up a 5% play, I'm trying to bet 3 units, or I'm trying to win 3 units. When I put up a 4% play, I'm trying to win 2 units. 3% play, I'm trying to win 1.5. You guys can see it. I will tell you, this is what I do. You guys are free to do whatever you want. Some people, when they see a 5% play, they're like, I'm hammering it, 20 units. I don't recommend that. But I know some people subscribe to that, and I know that you guys are going to do absolutely whatever you want, and you should. It's your bankroll. This is what I do. So I'm not telling you this is the be all end all, but this is kind of how I approach it. So we have a 5% play that's up this week. I have bet it to try and win 3 units. We got PFL. I will probably go heavier on the PFL plays tonight because we have good reads on them, and these PFL events don't happen all the time. So I really want to take advantage of it. So from now until Sunday is going to determine the week. I don't think we've put out a play not Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So again, we're just trying to make 3%. And if you start with $4,000 and you somehow make 3% every week and you don't pull any money out within 4 years, you'll have over $1 million. So I tell people this, that even if I don't make my goal, even if I come in by half, I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. So, but yeah, if you guys want me to do more of this Road to Millions talk about records and bets and things that we did, I can do that. I know somebody asked like why haven't you done the Road to Millions? It's very easy. Like, that was our least watched video, and it blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. Every week I would do the bankroll reset, and it was the least watched video I did of the week. It was actually hurting the YouTube algorithm. So, like, I swing and miss. I thought everyone would love that, but if I put out a video for the U.S. Open, we get 7,000, 8,000 views on that. If I put out a video about bankroll management and how to turn 4,000 into $1 million every week, people don't watch. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of tack some of this content onto the end, so people can start following. I used to talk about my personal bankroll and my numbers, and I'm not going to do that anymore. My numbers have gotten to the point where they're very nice, and probably to the point where I need to keep them to myself and keep private. So, but if you have any questions, leave a comment. And if you want me to go over more things, tell me in the comment section. I can do that content as much. And then Monday, I can start recapping the week before. Tell you how we did, and are we on pace? Did we make our 3%? Did we not make our 3%? So I'll keep doing the props and the parlays, and we'll talk about the bankroll management. We'll talk about did we make our 3%? So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for us. If you want to join me and Jim around 5:00, we'll do Takedown Live. That's on the YouTube channel. Takedown Live will be live for the PFL event, and we'll probably have the hockey on in the background as well. So, good luck on your place. We'll see everyone hopefully tomorrow. Be me and Andrew McGinnis. We'll break down the weekend of props. So we'll see everyone tomorrow on Props and Parlays Today.